Edgar,
Marwan.
round two. Let's try this again. So first, thank you for joining me. This was something we talked about doing 10 months ago, and now we're finally here.
It's really happening.
It's really happening. Would have done it last week, but I wanted to get out of didn't want to steal the spotlight from the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Because we would have.
We may not be as kind next year. So
Yeah.
watch out, NFL. But no, we have a lot to talk about. So let's just jump right into it. Of course, we're gonna make our predictions for this top 10 drivers list,
Mm-hmm.
how that goes. But really, I just want to focus on the drivers themselves. And being a new podcast, we're gonna start with the new drivers.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
There's some synergy there.
Yep. Yeah, we got 3 of them this year. 3 really interesting rookies, by the way, all for 3 different reasons, though, which we'll get into.
Yep.
Let's start with, let's just name them. Oscar Piastri,
Mm-hmm.
Nyck De Vries, Logan Sargeant. Let's start with Oscar.
All right.
You're a McLaren guy.
My McLaren boy.
Yeah, I'm tempted to just get out of the way and just let you go, because this is a lot of hype around this guy. So, Oscar Piastri, what you got?
Well, I don't know. Again, we've talked before if whether or not the hype is deserved. I think it's deserved based on the drama. We got Oscar Jack. Is it Piastri? We're gonna go with Piastri. Born 2001, youngin in Melbourne, Australia. So that's good for McLaren. Bringing an Aussie for an Aussie team. And I mean, we all know that he's coming with the Alpine drama from last year, which that was delicious. That was delicious. Real quick for those who don't know the drama, Alpine during the silly season of last year sent out a tweet that Oscar Piastri was going to be driving for them in the 2023 season. Oscar Piastri, again, deliciously, tweeted that Alpine sent that tweet out without his permission and that he will not be racing for them. And oh man, if that just didn't make everybody's day, I don't know what did.
So what are you expecting out of him this year, though?
Again, I don't think he's going to shock the world. I think McLaren is still essentially a midfield car. I love Lando, and I think he gets the most out of the car, but that's because he's been with the development for the past 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see him cracking top 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I commend you for being reasonable. Not many if I was a fan of a team that had a rookie coming in this hype, with this much accomplishments, I probably wouldn't be as reasonable. But I commend you for that. I do think, though, a top 10 finish is reasonable for him, though, right?
It's not on him. I think it's more on the car.
Okay, that's fair. There's been talks about the MCL 60, whether or not it's going to be up to par compared to these other cars, but we'll see about that.
We have testing in a couple days, Thursday.
Testing in a couple days.
Yeah, rain.
Okay, so the other rookie, Nyck De Vries.
You.
Okay, so I feel like I'm alone on an island here where I rate him heavily. I expect some big things out of Nyck De Vries. I think last year he put one of the more impressive performances when he had to just step in cold into that Williams. There was a lot that went into Monza. A lot of shenanigans happened before the race started. I think he started P8 or something like that, but still finished in the top 10. Got Nicholas Latifi up out of here, which kudos to him for that.
Yeah.
But no, he's also coming in with a lot of experience. He's someone that honestly should have had an F1 seat by now.
You told me he was like 27, 28, and that's
he's 28. Yeah, he's older than Max Verstappen, older than Charles Leclerc, all of these guys. But no, I'm really excited to just see what he brings to this team. I think Pierre Gasly he kind of underperformed last year, so he's going to take his seat, and him and Yuki together, which we'll talk about Yuki later. Right now, we're just going to focus on these rookies, but no, I think they're going to have a great pairing, and I expect a big leap for AlphaTauri because of Nyck De Vries. 2 Dutchmen, by the way. in
Oh,
Formula One. Yeah, him and Max.
wonder if they're
Also,
gonna be friends.
they might be, or big rivals.
Oh,
Yeah. Congrats to him on beating that case, by the way. Are you familiar at all with the lawsuit?
no.
So a little backstory. As far as lawsuits go, it's not that juicy. There's not really that much to it. But he signed a contract with a millionaire, a very rich man, to help him fund his F1 career because it's a very expensive sport. So he signed a deal with him, basically saying that if I make it to Formula One by 2022, you'll get half of my F1 contract. And so he didn't make it to F1 by 2022. He made it in 2023. But the man who loaned him the money said, hey, you raced last year. So technically you were an F1 driver last year. So you owe me half of your contract. But they took it to court and the judge sided with Nyck De Vries, said, no, he wasn't a full-time racer last year. So congrats to him. He doesn't have to give up half of his salary. So that's a big win for him.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah, that would suck.
Do you know when he made that contract?
No, I have no idea, but I'm surprised it's not something that happens more often. Right?
Yeah, that sounds like a millionaire took advantage of a very young person.
Maybe. We don't know exactly how old he was. Let's not speculate here.
Yeah.
No, but no, good for him. All right, so this last guy, Logan Sargeant, right? Yeah. From our side of the pond. Yeah. From our own state. Yeah, he's a Florida man, from the land of chicken tender subs. What are the expectations for Logan Sargeant?
I mean, he's in a Williams. I don't think anyone is really expecting much from him.
That's fair. Well, the question with him, honestly, was, does he even belong in Formula One? It's never a good sign when you're coming into the league and everyone is questioning whether or not you actually deserve a seat. Which,
is the idea he just got the seat because he's an American driver?
Yeah, and I think there is something to that. Which, by the way, I am on the camp of no, he didn't deserve a seat. But that's neither here nor there. He's got the seat. That doesn't matter. Yeah. The question is, what can he do with it? And honestly, just the nature of this sport, someone has to finish in last, and I expect that to be him. But hopefully he proves me wrong. It would be nice to have an American succeed in this sport. It's been a while. I think 2016 or 2015 was the last time we even had one on the grid. So that is something I'm looking forward to, though, is just seeing how all of these rookies perform. It's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this season.
Well, percentage chance. What's your percentage chance of Logan Sargeant getting into the points in any race? I wouldn't even do for the championship. Any race. Yeah.
2%.
Okay. Wow.
Is that high or low?
I think that's low.
Because I think I was being generous, honestly. But no, I don't want to hate on the man because look, he's unproven. I think it's possible he proves me wrong here, but look, and of course I want to see this sport continue to grow in this country, and having a big American driver succeed would help with that, but he's not the one, unfortunately. But let's talk about his teammate, though. Well, let's talk about the rest of these drivers, really, and we'll start with Williams. We'll work our way up from the bottom top. His teammate, Alex Albon. Any reasonable expectations from him beyond don't get 19th? Because that 20th spot is locked up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Because I do think there is one other driver on the grid who could probably get 20th. But we'll get to them later.
Wow, a little tease.
Yeah. I think Alex Albon will finish between P17 and P12. I'll give him that 5 position window.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I think for him, this hurts me to say because he's been a solid driver and I kind of root for him. I root for both Alex Albon and Logan Sargeant because it doesn't sound like it, right? but I'm rooting for them because they are in a Williams.
Yeah.
I have some pretty terrible teams that I root for
Mm.
outside of the sport. And so I can
Going with the
relate.
Jags.
Not the Jags though. They, they're picking it up. But no, I can relate to the underdogs, the once great Williams. They used to be competing for championships, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's enough about Williams.
Yeah. I mean, they're constructors. They're probably still P10.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but someone has to get last.
Yeah.
That's how it works. AlphaTauri. So we talked about one of them before, Nyck De Vries. So like I said, I expect a big jump from AlphaTauri.
I mean, I always like Yuki as a driver. He's very aggressive, and it just makes it entertaining to watch.
Yeah. So unfortunately, though, he did have kind of a down year last year. I think this is really his make or break season for Yuki.
This is his last contract year.
Yeah. So if he was driving recklessly last year, with less stakes, I really want to see how he does this year with all the pressure on him.
I hope he drives more recklessly.
That would be more fun for us. But no, I'm excited to see what Yuki can do here. I actually expect them to take a step forward here. They finished behind Haas. I think they'd be a little more competitive this year, possibly finishing ahead of them. But we'll get to Haas in a second. No. But no, AlphaTauri can. I think with Nyck De Vries and Yuki Tsunoda, I expect them to take a step forward here and be a little more competitive.
Yeah, I hope it pushes Yuki because he's going to be the senior driver, and then the rookie driver we already know is good. So
yeah,
that should push him.
Yeah, well, I said we'll get to Haas. Let's just talk about them right now.
Okay.
Hulkenberg and Magnussen.
I for some reason I love Haas so much. I think they're actually the underdog. I think K-Mag is probably gonna crack top 10 this year.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
I felt like
Spoiler
he
alert.
performed very well last year. I didn't say where though. Okay.
That's true.
He performed very well last year in the Haas, and I just think that team's on an upward trajectory. It's not like super exponential, but it's a steady climb.
Okay. So it's really interesting what they're doing here. They brought in a really experienced driver, we'll just say. Nico Hulkenberg out of Germany, out of Deutschland.
I just realized it's kind of like the opposite of 2 years ago.
Yeah, it really is. Those 2 years were fun, but it was fun for us.
Yeah, they were.
For us. But no, I think we'll see what experience does. Unfortunately, though, with that experience does not come a whole lot of accomplishments, right?
No.
I think it's a combined 320 races for the two of them. 0 wins.
0 wins. Do you know how many podiums? No, that'd only be K-Mag.
Well, it would have to be K-Mag because Nico Hulkenberg does not have a single podium to his name. But no, I think let's see. Magnussen is at 1 podium. So
okay, all right,
that's something, right?
Yeah.
But no, I think credit to Nico Hulkenberg, honestly. 11 seasons in this sport, no podiums, no wins.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll get one this year either.
No, I'm gonna look this up. I want to see what the record is for most races without a win, and I really want him to break it, just so that we can say we saw that. He's done, I don't know, he's done the equivalent of like quiet quitting, I think, for the last 6 years of his career, and then he actually quit, but now he's back. So hey, we'll see if the hiatus did him any good though. But unfortunately though, Haas is another team that I expect to regress, honestly.
Did he sub last year for anyone? I can't remember.
I think he stepped in last year for somebody. I think it was Sebastian Vettel.
Okay.
He had COVID.
Yeah, and Aston. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did see him last year. I can't remember exactly where he finished, but I mean, yeah, don't expect much from Haas this year, to be honest. Who's next? Alfa Romeo?
Yep.
Okay. Um, Alfa Romeo was really interesting last year because we saw them get off to a really good start, and then just halfway through the season, something happened, and then it was just DNFs after DNFs and
Yeah.
problems, and there was that weird moment where Zhou's car was upside down, and
Yeah.
I think it was Silverstone, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't remember
yeah,
the track, but yeah,
yeah.
that
that was
I just
one of
saw
the
that in the
crazier
drive to
crashes.
survive ad.
Yeah. So that it was a tale of two halves for Alfa Romeo last year. The question is, which half do we see next year? Do we get that? Because honestly, Valtteri brought it. He brought the best out of the car. So the question is, does Zhou Guanyu step up, and can that team actually put together a complete season?
I mean, it's gonna be because there was so much restructuring that was happening in like the administrations of the teams. So I
Yeah, they
do want to
lost.
see how that trickles.
They lost the team principal, right?
Yep.
He's off to Ferrari.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see how much that affects things. I think the team principal is one of those things. It's really hard to tell whether or not it'll make a big impact. I think Valtteri was the biggest factor last year for their season.
Yeah.
They finished. They had, I think, 2 races where they both finished in the points. That first race, and then Canada, I think both of them finished in the points. But other than that, it was really just a roller coaster of a year for Alfa Romeo. But I think they'll probably step forward this year. Put together a more complete season. The technical problems did them in, but we'll see what we get out of Alfa Romeo. We miss anybody so far? I'm trying to get the lower teams out of the way.
Yeah, no. All right, so you got Alpha.
Aston Martin. Aston Martin.
Alpine.
Oh well, look
Aston
at
Martin.
Alpine. Aston Martin is I don't know, another interesting case here. They're bringing in Fernando.
Yeah.
Alonso. I'm really just looking forward to those radio calls and just seeing what Alonso has to say about his team, because he's never been shy to speak his mind.
Yeah. I want to, what he's going to say about his teammate.
You can't say too much about the owner's kid, though.
Yeah.
Right? Well, yeah. We're going to test that out and see exactly if Alonso is scared to say anything about Lance Stroll, his teammate.
Yeah.
Because, he'll just call his dad up on the phone really quick and say, hey, my teammate's being mean to me. Get him out of here. But no, that's, I don't know, dude. Are they going to be more competitive this year? They were okay last year. I think
I feel like they're going to be the same, because it is weird. Like, I feel like Alonso and Vettel have the same kind of, I don't know, just energy to bring to that team.
Yeah, I guess they finished. I think they were tied with Alfa Romeo last year. So I don't know. I don't expect much from them, to be honest.
If anything, Stroll's just getting a bunch of good teachers, I guess, if he's actually learning from them.
We'll see. Yeah, we like Lance Stroll. He's from Canada. We root for the Canadians around here.
Yeah. No, I think he's a decent driver.
Yeah, definitely. I think
I'll argue against pay for play for him.
Argue against it?
Yeah.
How?
Because he's a good driver. I don't think he just bought his seat. I mean, he did. Okay, he did, but he's also good. Is what I'm trying to say.
And that's fair. I think he's plateaued a little bit, but he's a solid driver. But I think he's hit his ceiling. All right, well, we're starting to get to the better teams, I guess.
Okay.
Alpine. Ocon and Gasly. So I wanted to focus mostly on the track and what happens. What we're expecting from the drivers out on the grid. But this is a little backstory with Gasly and Ocon. There's some history there. Some tension. They're both Frenchmen. They grew up together karting, but then they had some huge falling out. And, I don't know if this might sound a little over dramatic here. Arch nemesis is the right word. Arch rivals.
I love it though.
That's kind of how I would classify them as, right, for a little while there. But the talk out of their team is that they've put that behind them and that they're gonna look, which is easy to say now.
Yeah.
But No, I'm rooting for some fireworks at least. Makes it more fun, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like when was the last time we had teammates that actually didn't like each other?
Mm.
I guess Perez and Ocon back when it was Force India.
Oh, yeah. There's a recurring trend here, maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
but no. Well, all right. Let's talk about on the track though. Any expectations from them?
I expect Ocon to perform the same. I want to hope that Gasly performs better, but we'll see.
Yeah. They operate in like this weird place, Alpine, with them and McLaren, right? Where it's
Hmm.
a little not there with the top three, but better than the bottom five.
Yeah, they're like the top midfield.
Yeah, I think when you were looking at the standings last year, it was this huge drop off from Mercedes to McLaren, or from Mercedes to Alpine, and another
Yeah.
huge drop off from McLaren to whoever it was, Alfa Romeo. Um, but no, we'll see if they can actually break apart. Right, I think the main challenge for them is just beat McLaren. That's your goal for
Yeah,
Alpine. We'll see if bringing Gasly in will actually do that.
which don't, but yeah, that's a good goal.
Yeah. Well, speaking of McLaren, we finally made it.
Oh yeah.
This is your team, which, by the way, I don't think I ever asked you, how did you even become a McLaren fan?
It was just I fell into it. The first season I started watching F1 was the first season they had Lando and Carlos Sainz as teammates,
Hmm.
and that was just engaging to watch. And then before I started watching Drive to Survive, I was looking for Formula One just shows and content to kind of learn. And I feel like it was probably the same production company that did Drive to Survive, but there was a documentary on Amazon that was McLaren, and it basically followed McLaren through. I think it was like the 2018 or 2017 season where it was Fernando Alonso and Stoffel Van Dorn, and I don't know, just watching that documentary on the team, I fell in love with McLaren. And then you have the history of Bruce McLaren, driver making his own team, and then also just McLaren's
Of course, it's a cool
such a
car.
beautiful car.
I would have expected it to have something to do with Tuned. Are you familiar with Tuned?
No,
Okay, we're gonna talk about Tuned after this.
okay,
But it's a cartoon produced by McLaren. But anyways, yeah, I think so. That's how you became a fan.
yeah,
It's been a rocky relationship, I'd say, as far as them actually giving you anything back to root.
yeah. I mean, entertainment.
Yeah. Oh, if one thing about McLaren is they will always be entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Google Chrome wheels?
Uh,
All right,
some designer had fun with that.
we don't need
Some
to get
designer
we
had fun
don't
with that, and I'm happy for them.
okay, yeah. Well, we don't need to get into that.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about how they'll actually perform, though. Well,
All right.
I don't want you to give away your top 10 list, but let's just talk in broad terms here. What are you expecting out of McLaren?
I expect a lot from Lando. I think he's a great driver, and I kind of feel like it's not comparable, but it was how Hamilton was with Mercedes before. Because yes, the Mercedes was a good car, and Hamilton's a great driver. But I think it was the fact that that development happened together, and so I think Lando's development with the MCL 60, I think we're just going to see a great year from him.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that. I do think having a better teammate for Lando is definitely going to help out. Uh, P11 last year for
Yeah,
Danny Rick. I, I think Piastri will be a little more competitive and help his teammate out. So I can see where you're coming from, expecting some big things out of McLaren, but I'm not there with you, to be honest.
well, I'm expecting big things out of Lando.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't think Piastri is gonna have a great year.
okay. We'll get to that in a second in our top 10 list, but let's get to Mercedes.
Yeah,
Yeah. What is there to say about Mercedes? Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. Um, I personally am expecting a step forward from Mercedes. I think the talk around the team is that they figured some things out. Their porpoising issue, which
yeah,
I've tired of hearing that word. By the way, I've heard it more in my life last year than I've ever wanted to. But I think I'm expecting them to get back to form. Call it wishful thinking, honestly.
Well,
But
the last half of their season last year, that's when they started to come back up, right?
yeah, they definitely showed some improvement, and I think they can build off of that. So yeah, I'm expecting big things out of Mercedes this year. Um, anything to the idea that they're losing uh, a key member of their team, James Vowell. He's moving to Williams to become their team principal. We'll see how much that actually impacts things, but mostly bringing the whole team back together. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see how that goes. Any expectations that anything you want to add to the Mercedes discourse?
No, I think we all know how Mercedes is going to be.
Do you think anything with any issues with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell pop up this year?
Nah.
They actually, yeah, it was surprising to see just how well they got along. Lewis Hamilton seems like Lewis Hamilton, part owner of the Denver Broncos, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. Uh, we'll see if he can get them right on track. But no, I think Russell put a great season together last year,
Yeah.
and I think he can build off of that too. So big things out of Mercedes, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just always assume that they're gonna be great.
Yeah, that's a reasonable expectation. You don't win 5 constructors in a row. Was it about being great? So Ferrari. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, new team principal for them though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be careful with what I say because I feel like I've been slightly unfair to Carlos Sainz in the past in just how I view him. I think he's good, but not great. I think we saw the big difference between Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz last year was Charles Leclerc was able to overcome his own team, whereas Carlos was not.
It was Carlos's first season with no, it wasn't. Was it? That was his second.
Yeah, I don't think it was his first season.
Damn it.
Look, I think it's going to be interesting to see. They're bringing in the Alfa Romeo principal, who's I don't know. He put together a decent season last year. We talked about Alfa Romeo already.
Yeah.
But I think their biggest obstacle was their biggest obstacle last year, which is Ferrari. Can they get out of their own way? We saw them take a big step forward and then just proceed to stumble across the finish line. But no, I think we'll really dive into it when we give our predictions or top 10. But I do think they might be able to right some of their wrongs last year. All right, and I guess we'll talk about the 2-time champion himself, Max Verstappen, and his teammate Sergio Perez. Red Bull. What are you expecting out of Red Bull?
Number 1 in the champions, and I'm not expecting it, but most likely number 1 driver and number 1 champion. Yeah.
Okay.
No way around it.
And honestly, it's hard to see otherwise. They put together one of the most dominant seasons ever. Just last year, Max Verstappen and Sergio, they worked really well together, except for that one race in Brazil, which I don't know. We'll see if that pops up again. We'll see what Drive to Survive has about that.
Right? Yeah, I mean, we gotta take it with a grain of salt, but yeah.
No, I think the other teams will be a little more competitive. And again, this is honestly just wishful thinking. I want a more competitive season. It's always more fun when we get that. But still expect them to run away with this thing towards the end, probably.
Yeah. I mean, if we get the championship down to the last race, that would be amazing.
That would be nice. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about our predictions.
All right.
You want to go first, or should I go?
Yeah, I got mine right here.
Okay, I'll let you go first. I saw you wrote all that down. All right.
Yeah, I did. All right, and so I know what I said. I'll preface my list because I know what I said about expecting Red Bull to be number 1 and number 1. But as you know, I don't like facts. I don't like numbers, statistics, and I don't like research. So this is all my gut. Number 1, Lando Norris. It's going to shock everyone. No one's going to see it coming. But my gut is telling me Lando Norris is going to be the world champion this year. Number 2, Max Verstappen. I mean, there's no way around that one. Number 3, Sergio Perez, which Also pretty likely, honestly. Number 4, Charles Leclerc. Number 5, Carlos Sainz. I'm gonna group the Ferraris together because I don't think Charles Leclerc was that much better than Carlos Sainz. He was better, but not that much better. 6, Lewis Hamilton. 7, George Russell. Honestly, I just need to fill out top 10 spaces. Number 8, Oscar Piastri. I'm going to be a little bit hopeful. Number 9, Pierre Gasly. And number 10, Kevin Magnussen. I do think K-Mag and a Haas this year can crack top 10.
Yeah, so I can tell you really put your heart into that.
Yeah.
You're like, forget all of that, the last 20 minutes of analysis. This is what my heart is telling me.
Yeah.
I fully support that. I think when you first sent me that list, you immediately followed it up with, I stand by my list. I followed my gut. And so there's nothing I can say about that. Lando Norris in P1 is crazy though. I'm not going to lie.
No, yeah, I understand that it's crazy.
I think we saw Charles Leclerc go from 7th to 2nd last year. So you're saying Lando is going to outdo him in a worse car, which again, you're a McLaren fan and that's okay. You can be hopeful.
We don't know what happens on the track. You know, debris from space could take out some cars, clear a path.
Yeah. No, it's your list. I can't fault you for it. It's a wild list, but I don't know. Copernicus was called crazy when he said the sun was the center of the universe. That's the only comparison that I have to your list here.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
You are Copernicus. But no, so my list, I'm going with, can I start from from 10th and move up, add some suspension, some drama?
I like it. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going with Oscar Piastri at 10.
Okay.
Yeah, a solid rookie season for him. McLaren's a solid team. Pierre Gasly at 9. His teammate and arch rival, maybe Ocon at 8. Lando Norris, who you had at first, I have him at 7th.
That's fine.
So another top 7 finish for Lando. But 6, I have Carlos Sainz. Again, good but not great. But he finished, I think, 5th last year. So little step back for Carlos, but that has more to do with the other guys on this list taking a step forward. George Russell, 5th. So again, he got the most out of his car last year, and I think the future of Mercedes is his. I think it's going to be his team down the line, but not yet right now. Ahead of him, I got Sergio Perez at 4th. Again, this has to do again with the other drivers that I'm putting ahead of him. Number 3, I got Lewis Hamilton. He had a down year last year, but expect him to pick it up this year with Mercedes helping him out and not doing some trials on his car. Number 2, Max Verstappen.
Okay.
This is kind of, I know it kind of goes against what I was saying earlier, where Max Verstappen was put together one of the most dominant seasons last year. But honestly, this is all wishful thinking. I'm really just hoping that we get a more competitive year, and that's why I'm putting Charles Leclerc at number 1.
Leclerc supremacy 2023.
Yep. He put together a really good year last year. He had to overcome his own team time and time again. The car itself had some reliability issues, which I'm hoping that they get fixed. So that's why I'm expecting Charles Leclerc to make a big jump this year. The other drivers should also make things a little more tough for Max Verstappen. Last year, he would just jump out to first and then never look back and just sleepwalk to the championship. So hopefully we get a slightly more competitive year this year. Drive to Survive comes out this Friday, right?
Yeah, February 24th.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of dates coming up. So Drive to Survive, February 24th this Friday.
Yeah,
testing is going to be from February 23rd to 25th in Bahrain. And then a little bit of time for the first race, also going to be in Bahrain, but that's March 5th.
Okay, yeah, best time of the year, honestly. All these teams have hope. All these fans have hope. And then it's going to be crushed in like 3 or 4 weeks, but still.
Yeah.
Fun time of the year for all of us. Formula One is back.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. Yeah, I really don't know. I really don't know what to expect out of these rookies. I know we talked about this before, but this is honestly part of the reason why I'm so excited about this season is these rookies. It's a really interesting group, all for 3 different reasons.
Also bringing Hulk back. I'm pretty excited for that.
Bringing Nico Hulkenberg back. Maybe he might get that elusive podium.
Yeah. I do. Like, I'm just intrigued to see like what the performance is going to be of someone who's left for a couple of years, never got the podium. I want to be inside his head.
Well, I think that's a good stopping point right there. You wanted to be inside the head of Nico Hulkenberg. Can we talk about Ant-Man now?